Super Rugby Saturday games. Interesting. Interesting to say the least. I guess a pretty good round for the home teams, seeing as they all won. Um, Bit of a mixed bag. Couple of hidings. Well, three kind of hidings really, and one game which was relatively close, which perhaps went the way we didn't expect it to go. But either way, I will start with that one. The Sunwolves. It's not that many more chances I get to wear this jersey on the channel. And you know I like to usually wear a winning team's jersey to kind of give them their big ups. Sunwolves 36, Rebels 27. That's about as bad as a start as it can get for the Rebels. This needed to be the must win, preferably with a bonus point win, but they lost and couldn't even get within 7. So pretty bad result for them. Amazing for the Sunwolves, given the turnaround that squad had, like the changes. So few players from last year are still in the squad. They brought in some guys, and they certainly did a job. So, yeah, congrats to them. It was the only game, I guess, that was in winter. So it was a nice looking winter's day for this one. And, yeah, the Sunwolves just did it from the outset, man. They got the first try to Moria, who had a really good game on 9 minutes. They made it 5-0. Rebels got a penalty, 5-3. Then the Sunwolves got a maul try. That one's with Big Vadza that ended up dotting over with that one. So they made it 12-3. And like the Sunwolves getting the first try, that's been done before. 12-3, I'm still kind of having flashbacks to that Blues game where they were up 19-7 or 19-5 at halftime, thinking, sure, you can get up by half time, but you probably won't be able to keep that way. And I was feeling more correct when Rangi got the try for the Rebels on 23 minutes, 12-8 it was at that point. But then Tassi got one not that long after. It was a Moria cutout pass for that one. It was a big pass anyway. I think the TMO did have to have a check, but it was all good, so it was 19-8. And then neither side was able to defend, man, that first half. Daniel Petty went straight through. They had quick ball. They missed the conversion again, which was a bit worrying. But 19-13. And then on 35 minutes, again, I was kind of having flashbacks to that Blues game where they opted for a 3. When I was looking at the score and thinking, this is not the game where you take the 3, but they went for a 3, the Sunwolves. So it was 22-13 at halftime. So far from an unassailable lead, but still a really good first half. As I said, both sides were good with the ball in hand, less so on defence. To be fair, though, before halftime, the Sunwolves defence did hold a Rebels maul, which seemed to be a weapon that was going to get some pay for them. So good on them for that. The Sunwolves led the possession of the territory at halftime. And to be fair, this game only had 4 knock-ons in the first half, whereas other games were well beyond that. The handling in other games was terrible. So where we've been giving other teams kind of a pass on, oh, it's the first game of the season, oh, it's really hot. I know it's in winter, so maybe that reduces kind of the sweat factor, but neither of these teams are fancy to do that much, and yet they could hold the pill. Second half, Dargaville got a try right after half time. It was from a Callaway kick through that kind of nobody grabbed him. Like, he got the ball and 3 guys just ran straight past him, so he went in for a try. 29-13. Unfortunately, Rudy Page went off on the hour, but that gave the Japanese guy, I forget his name, the replacement scrum half, a chance to come on and get some minutes, which is good. Maybe he'll get some minutes next week, but they're on the bye, so not next week, maybe the week after. Depends on how long Page is out for, if at all. 61 minutes, April gets a try off the back of a scrum. It's 36-13, and 36-13, you're really starting to think, damn, the Rebels are going to lose. The Rebels are going to lose because it's only like 20 minutes to go. But then Callaway did get a try on 65 minutes after Dargaville made a mistake. He put his foot in touch, and then he missed the tackle again from memory. So 36-20, TMO checked that one. And then Deegan got one on 76 minutes. They took a conversion quickly. It was 36-27. But yeah, They needed to get one more for the bonus point. Couldn't get it done in the last 5 minutes. They did go close. The Sunwolves defence held. But that's all she wrote, man. Great effort from the Sunwolves. A team that everyone thought would be lucky to get a single win have got 1 from 1. Perfect record. This one, run meters 327 to the Sunwolves, 486 to the Rebels. Possession was 50-50. Territory slightly more to the Rebels. Interestingly, the tackling percentage, which is the one area that the Rebels usually have really bad numbers, they were 81%, which for Super Rugby is okay. And the Rebels were at 79, so yeah, less in the way of tackles made for them. The Sunwolves made 148, the Rebels only made 92, so the Sunwolves defense did have to do a job in this one. Line out, the Sunnies were at 100%, which is also the other area they usually really struggle. The Rebels 88, which is alright. Penalties conceded was 12 apiece. But yeah, that's a killer one for the Rebels, man. They needed to get really their season underway because we've seen in recent years they struggle in the latter half of the season. So it's a bit worrying. Teo for the Sunwolves had 14 out of 17 tackles. A couple of their subs, I think it was it Downey and Mitch Jacobson, like 1-7 from 7 and 1-8 from 10. So yeah, it's usually the Rebels, not the Rebels, the Sunnies subs that would come on and make like 2 tackles and miss 6. So this is kind of pleasing. Nasirani for the Rebels had 60 plus run meters and 8 defenders beaten. So he was kind of doing what he does best in a losing effort. But yeah, I mentioned the Sunwolves are on the bye next week, so maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I thought it was going to be a good thing if they got a hiding here, like a chance to settle back down. Maybe they would have been better off having another game, but they've got the bye. The Rebels are back to Australia to play the Brumbies in Canberra. So yeah, that's suddenly looking like a lot tougher trip now that the Brumbies got to win in the first round as well. Next game, Crusaders Waratahs. This one kind of, I don't think the Waratahs were that bad, but the Crusaders were pretty good. There were times when the Waratahs looked alright and looked pretty well structured, and there were times when the Crusaders just kind of cut them to bits, especially towards the end. Crusaders had tries to Jordan, he got 2, Enor got 2, Whanganuku got 1, and Romano got 1. 5 conversions and a penalty, 43 points is a fair bit. And Nelson, annoyingly, the Super Rugby logo wasn't quite painted straight. It was really off-centre. I'm not sure if that was intentional. It's a weird one. Waratahs, the guy on debut, Wanganitawase, he had 2 tries within like 5 minutes. Apparently his parents were there, which was pretty awesome. It was that spell which actually kind of brought the Waratahs back into the game. And to be fair, that guy, Will Harrison, he looked pretty good on his debut as well with the boot. Like, is it Mac Mason that played before and kind of looked like a possum in the headlights? Will Harrison looked alright. He kicked his goals. I think they kicked it 100%. They exchanged penalties early, 3 apiece. Will Jordan got the first try. The Maul held, but they got a bit of space out wide. So 10-3, Tars penalty, 10-6. Enor got 1 from a turnover, 17-16. It did go out to 24-6, which is what it was at half time. But then the 2 Waratahs tries early in the second half brought it back to 24-18. One of them was an intercept, and he showed some gas. Did Nawangitawase. I'm going to need to practice that name by the end of the season. But yeah, it was 24-18, and you're thinking maybe game on, and then the Crusaders just shut the door on that with the tries to Enor, Jordan, and then Romano right later on. So yeah, it's a Newsom did get 1 to kind of finish off at the end, but that's how it finished, 43-25. So to score 25 points away from home against the Crusaders is not too bad, but then you concede 43. It's not the best. So a whole lot of running in this game. 654 run meters for the Crusaders, 459 for the Tars. Possession territory pretty even, slightly favouring the Crusaders. Crusaders lineout was only 71%, 10 from 14. That's below their high standards. The Waratahs, on the other hand, were only missed the 1, so they were 93%. Waratahs, though, they're tackling 78%. Again, it's a bit costly. So yeah, the Crusaders 86%. Pretty solid all round. Penalties conceded was 10 to the Crusaders, 8 to the Tars, so not a whole lot in that. The game was a bit messy at times, but it also had its kind of clinical moments too. Will Jordan, 143 run meters. David Havili, 111 run meters. Their outside backs were great. Havili had 11 defenders beaten, man. But yeah, Hooper missed 5 tackles, which was a bit disappointing. But he always has high missed tackle stats because he goes for more than he can realistically get. Beal was alright, 113 run meters, 2 defenders beaten, 2 clean breaks. They did blow a couple of opportunities, the Tars, so if they'd been a bit sharper, maybe that would have been a bit closer, but they still wouldn't have won it. Crusaders are away to the Chiefs. That's got the look of a pretty good game. And the Waratahs are they're at home to the Blues. So that becomes a pretty important game for both sides, given how the first games went for both of them. The next one, I haven't seen this one in full. This is the only game of Super Rugby this weekend. I only caught the highlights. It was on at like 2 a.m., so tough. But tough was the result for the Hurricanes, man. 27-0. It's pretty rare for the Hurricanes to be kept scoreless, but it happened over in Cape Town. Here I was saying it's going to be a good idea to start their thing in South Africa because they don't have to worry about the travel too much. They can get there early and prepare themselves and start the season well. 27-0. The Stormers did score early through Peterson. It was a little Herschel Yankees kick over the top or across the field, so that was a smart little bit of play. They had advantage, so it was the kind of play that you rolled the dice with when you got advantage in case it doesn't pay off. And then Kitsoff got one on 19 minutes. The Stormers had missed a penalty before that, though. Like, they got a penalty at scrum time. And, Willems's first couple of kicks, he wasn't striking them that well. But then they did get the try through Kitsoff. He was just about a metre out and powered over. 12-0. Herschel Yankees picked up a loose Hurricanes pass. It is that kind of early season pass not going to hand. And he scored the try. He's got some wheels, that boy. 19-0 is what it was at half-time. Fafita got yellow carded. They said it could have been a red from the highlights package I saw. They said it was like he started in red card, but because he was like lowering himself, they counted that as a mitigating factor. So, they kicked the penalty from there to make it 22-0. Jamie Booth did go close, but didn't quite have the gas. They did have a few good attacking moves from the highlights that I've seen. But, right at the end, the Stormers got an intercept. And Willemse had some wheels. Like, I didn't know he was that quick. I'm like, he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. He was angling for the corner. He's definitely going to get caught, but he made it, man. So it was pretty slick stuff. They missed the conversion, but it was still 27-0. So a bonus point win for the Stormers at home. Great way to kick off the season. The Stormers are the South African team that I think needs to do well. Because of their squad. So them and maybe the Sharks, interestingly both of them had wins, so we'll see if they're able to keep things up. Run meters 481 to the Hurricanes 219. That's pretty lopsided. The Stormers had 62% possession, 67% territory. Their line-out wasn't that sharp, 75% is pretty average. The Hurricanes were 84. Tackling, though, they were 87%, which for Super Rugby is really high level. They only had to make 66 tackles. The Canes were 82 and made 107. Canes also on the wrong side of the ref with 12 penalties conceded. The Stormers 7. So Willemse 141 run meters. A fair few of those would have been at the end. 6 defenders beaten from him. The only black mark is kind of the goal kicking was 50%, which on another day might have been a bit costly, but not this one. Prinsep made 11 from 11 tackles, so that's a solid shift from him. But overall, pretty disappointing from the Canes. So we'll see where they go from here. Stormers are home to the Bulls, and the Hurricanes have a trip to Buenos Aires to play the Jaguares. Speaking of the Jaguares, they did a pretty big job over the Lions, 38 points to 8. And the previews for these teams, I looked at that Lions squad and thought it could be a bit of trouble with with some of the players they've lost. It's only one game into the season for sure. The Jaguares, they should be doing really well in that South African conference, really, with the squad they've got. But again, still early days. Can't count anything just from that one result. And to be fair, it started off in the favour of the Lions. I mean, they did miss an early penalty throughout in Yankees. Bonija went off within a few minutes, so Miotti had to come on, and Miotti had a great game. He did manage to get a try early on. He got the first one. He only just managed to get it to the ground. It was 7-0. But then the Lions kicked a penalty to make it 7-3, and then they got a try through Warner. It was I kept calling him Mason, but they were calling him Masane. Yeah, he got the try. The big number 8, quick number 8. He showed some proper gas. He went down the right wing, and Andre Warner had the support line. So they put the Lions in front, 7 points to the Jaguares, 8 points to the Lions. But that was the end of the scoring for the Lions, which is pretty concerning. Jaguares penalty made it 10-8 at half time, and then the second half just blew out. Kremer did get yellow carded for tackling a guy without the ball, but during that yellow card, Moroni got his first try. Good swerving run. 17-8. Yellow card finishes. Only the Jaguares have scored, so pretty bad again for the Lions. Moroni goes in again. They just can't stop him. Like, he just, has running those angles. Ortega Desio gets one on 69 minutes. It was a great ball from Boffelli. And then, they got a maul try right at the death to Krevy. So 38-8. Very convincing from the Jaguares. Like, early on, like by half time, I don't know, they weren't looking that sharp. They were looking potential, but they certainly paid it off in that second half. Run meters 520 to the Lions 326. Position and territory were pretty much even. Jaguares tackled at 91%. That's like test match level. Very rarely does that happen at Super Rugby level. 121 tackles they made, so very, very good effort for them. That's very pleasing, because often it's been the tackling and the penalties that killed the Jaguares. Their penalty count was still 11 to the Lions 7, but the tackling was amazing. The Lions, whose defensive stuff wasn't very good last year, continues to suffer a bit here. 77%, 127 tackles. So some key guys for the Jaguares: Crusaders, Boffelli and Moroni all busted 7 tackles or more. I think a couple of them had 8. So very, very dangerous guys with ball in hand. Skurman had 12 from 12 tackles, though that's Manus. So he's generally a pretty safe defender and good at ruck time, but still a losing effort from him. If nothing else, the Lions' scrum did look pretty strong. So I guess that's one thing you take away from it. But like I said, the Jaguares host the Hurricanes. That'll be a good game. And the Lions are back to Johannesburg to play the Reds. They won't really have anything in the way of advantage in terms of the travel, though, because both sides will be traveling to South Africa at the same time. So, it's an interesting week because the Sharks and the Stormers won. So that's 2 wins for the South African teams. The Crusaders and the Chiefs won. That's 2 wins for the New Zealand teams. And the Brumbies won. That's a win for the Aussie teams, with the Jaguares and the Sunwolves winning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That must be the fewest number of wins for like New Zealand, South African, and Aussie teams. That's pretty rare. That is pretty rare, I would imagine. So 1 win for an Aussie team, 2 wins for Kiwi teams, and 2 wins for South African teams. Interesting start to the season, man. Pretty disappointing if you're the Rebels. Kind of business as usual for the Crusaders, despite losing all those players. Stormers looking good, only 1 game in. And Jaguares looking good, but only 1 game in. We'll see how things go. You guys let me know your thoughts on the games. How did you think they went? Especially that one, because I've only seen about 10, 12 minutes of it. But all comments welcome, guys. And I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.